Hey, what's going on? It's Inventor here, with my Dance of Knives rogue in Diablo 4, Season 10. I cleared Pit 55 to unlock Torment 4, so I wanted to share my build with you in case anyone was struggling to reach the endgame with the Dance of Knives rogue. In this build guide, I'm going to cover my character, abilities, progression, and other relevant information. So first, I'll talk about my gear. Gear. One of the biggest upsides to running Dance of Knives is that you don't need any uniques for this build, at least not to get the build going for Torment 4. Now, regarding the aspects on my weapons, I had the Clandestine Bow, Starshard Sword, and True Sight Sword. Clandestine gives 8 ranks, not just to Dance of Knives, but also to Caltrops, Smoke Grenade, and Concealment, increasing the damage or reducing the cooldown for each of these skills. Starshard's Shatter effect gives a lot of extra damage even without the combo points. True Sight gives a massive increase in damage whenever Inner Sight is active, and an even larger increase in damage against single targets like bosses. For my helm, I run Juggernauts to help reach the armor cap. The evade penalty does not have much of an impact since I am mostly just using Dance of Knives. My chest armor is Mired Sharpshooters to make Caltrops into a marksman skill, allowing it to trigger the Tricks of the Trade legendary node for more damage. My gloves are Synergy Aspect to get a damage boost whenever I cast Concealment into Dance of Knives. For my pants, so here I have Resistant Assailant to help reset Concealment, but an alternative would be Tybalt's for up to 20% more damage while unstoppable, which would have been perpetually active due to the Stolen Vigor aspect and Concealment too. My boots here are Penitent Greaves as a multiplicative damage boost against chilled enemies. As an alternative, I could have used a pair of legendary boots with the Nebulous Bruise aspect for more potions, and with Dexterity, Max Life, and Dance of Knives as affixes. On my amulet, I have the Stolen Vigor aspect to get a big damage increase that is pretty much always up. My first ring is Elements aspect for more damage half the time. I wanted a high roll on Edgemaster's aspect instead, but I never found it on this run. My ring is Cold Clip aspect for more damage to chilled or frozen enemies. This gives great damage against mobs and is alright against elites and staggered bosses. For affixes, I wanted Dexterity and Max Life on all my items, ideally with GA on at least Dexterity. That aside, I was looking for multiplicative damage increases from attack speed, or ranks on Dance of Knives, or passives like Malice. Defensively, I wanted armor or resistances to help keep me alive on higher torments. As for the tempers, I ran Chance for Dance of Knives to deal double damage from the Agile Augments recipe on my weapon. For offensive tempers, I had Cutthroat attack speed from the Cutthroat Finesse recipe as a damage multiplier for Dance of Knives. For defensive, I used resistances to reach the resistance caps on the elements that I was lacking resistances in. My resource tempers don't actually matter here. Normally, I would run Subterfuge cooldown reduction for Concealment, but one of my Chaos perks, that being Chaotic Cooldowns, renders cooldown reduction useless on my build. My utility aspect is supposed to be Chilling Weight to stagger bosses faster, but I wasn't able to find the recipe for it by the time I unlocked Torment 4, so I used extra cold imbuement charges instead. For mobility, I used generic movement speed on my amulet, along with other movement bonuses like my key passive momentum, My goal was to try and max it out at 200% so that I could refill my Dance of Knives charges. So you'll see here, my movement speed right now is only 149%, but when I start channeling Dance of Knives, it'll go up from Dance of Knives itself, and then with the momentum key passive, I'll reach 200%. In my sockets, I use emeralds in my armor to gain dexterity, emeralds in one-handed weapons for more crit damage, and gems in my jewelry for more resistances. For runes, typically I would put one rune word in my bow and the other in one of the armor slots. Unfortunately, I didn't have any useful runes on this run, so I only had Yak's Qua to get movement speed whenever I drank a health potion. If I had more runes available to me, I would have used other rune words like Bakwut or Yak's Ohm. Bakwut applies Horde Decrepify for slow and execute after moving a few meters, while Yak's Ohm uses Warcry after I drink some potions. For elixirs and incense, as usual, if I am about to run the pit or a higher torment tier, then I use life, stats, armor, and resistances. Chaos perks. My non-unique chaos perks for this build are Unpredictable Alchemy, Accelerating Chaos, and Chaotic Cooldowns. My unique chaos perk is Hit and Run. Unpredictable Alchemy gives my imbued skills bonus damage, so using Cold Imbuement on Dance of Knives makes it 40% stronger outright. I have Accelerating Chaos to provide Chaotic Bursts on Lucky Hit, and reduction on an active cooldown if my Chaotic Bursts hit an enemy. Then there's Chaotic Cooldowns to apply Chaotic Bursts upon using a cooldown, and to lower the average cooldown for all of my skills. My unique perk, Hit and Run, can give upwards of 50% bonus damage as long as I keep moving around with Dance of Knives. There is this drawback of doing less damage while the bonus isn't active, but I still get more overall damage output with Hit and Run. Skills. Now, I'm not going to go over every individual point that I allocated on the skill tree, but the one thing that I'll say is that I use the key passive Momentum. Momentum is used to gain movement speed, damage reduction, and damage on this build. On my skill bar, I run Caltrops, Smoke Grenade, Cold Imbuement, Shadow Clone, Dance of Knives, and Concealment. To play this build, I start by drinking a healing potion and evading first to get damage boost from my passives. After that, I am throwing Caltrops to gain more damage and trigger Tricks of the Trade, Legendary Node, with Mired Sharpshooter's Aspect, then Smoke Grenade to apply Daze and increase damage, Cold Imbuement for the chilling effect and converting damage into non-physical, Shadow Clone for elites and bosses to duplicate your damage, Concealment for unstoppable, crit, and vulnerable, and then hold down Spin to win. While channeling Dance of Knives, you can recast Concealment whenever you start seeing white, non-critical damage numbers to reactivate its guaranteed crit strikes bonus. So here, you can see there's white damage numbers. I'm just waiting for Dance of Knives. So here you can see that there's white damage numbers, but as soon as I activate Concealment, they're guaranteed crits. And then Concealment is back up again thanks to Chaotic Cooldowns. And then I just keep the process going again. Overall, a very straightforward playstyle. For my specialization, I run Inner Sight so that I can get extra damage off of the True Sight aspect. Paragon. When I cleared Pit 55, I was Paragon level 126 with 153 Paragon points spent. I used the starting board with the Headhunter glyph, Dance Macabre with Devious glyph, the Exploit Weakness board without the legendary node, but with Canny glyph, Tricks of the Trade with Versatility glyph, and Eldritch Bounty without a glyph. In this walkthrough, I had 5 boards with 4 glyphs. Headhunter was rank 46 for its legendary bonus, and then I had Versatility, Canny, and Devious glyphs all active at rank 15 or higher for their radius increase. If I had more Paragon points, I would have used Control Glyph on the Eldritch Bounty board, and then I would have picked up the Exploit Weakness legendary node too. Mercenaries. For my hired mercenary, I had Rahir to fill out 15% to all resistances, and so I could get a bit of extra damage from time to time. My reinforcement was Aldkin to apply Field of Languish for slow and damage reduction if I get hit by CC. Progression. From level 1 to 60, you can begin with the first quest on the seasonal quest line to open up Chaos perks and the Reputation board. Then just do Helltides non-stop until level 60, with some seasonal quest line missions in between Helltides. Turn in Aberrant Cinders on Penitent difficulty by using Concealment to avoid monsters, but for killing monsters in Helltides, I recommend starting on normal difficulty to farm as many cinders as you can. You can adjust the difficulty as needed once your damage improves through tempers and aspects. As with past seasons, Dance of Knives still remains one of the best leveling builds in the game. As long as you keep your weapons up to date, you should have no trouble with this build all the way up to Torment 1. During my leveling, I use Concealment and an Imbuement on Dance of Knives, but I prefer running Shadow Imbuement over Cold Imbuement while leveling to get more AoE. From Torment 1 to 4, remember to pick up any reward caches from the Reputation board, Season Journey, and Report rewards as you get them. In Torment 1, first finish the seasonal questline if you haven't already. Then do the Infernal Hordes questline so your character can pick up compasses. From there, your priority is to do pit runs that are under 3 minutes to gain Paragon levels and better glyphs. You will get plenty of items and obols to upgrade your gear too. If you run out of Artificer's Stones to open the pit with, you can always run Whispers and Helltides to get more. In Torment 2, by now you should have at least 4 legendary nodes and 2 glyphs. When you reach Torment 2, the priority should be on running Helltides and Whispers for boss mats, tampering recipes, aspects, and gold. But most of all, you want to find and use a 10-wave Infernal Hordes compass and farm 666 Aether to defeat Bartuk for your unique Chaos perk. With solid Paragon boards and glyphs, good gear, and your unique Chaos perk, you should be ready for Torment 3. In Torment 3, here you need to worry about Infernal Warp, Obdicite, and Glyph XP. Infernal Warp is the seasonal currency for upgrading Chaos perks, and you can find it from Chaos Rifts in Helltides or Nightmare Dungeons. Obdicite is needed for masterworking and can be found via Nightmare Dungeons or Infernal Hordes. Glyph XP, of course, comes from running the pit. Finally, if you have any boss mats, you can run them for uniques and socketables, including a chance at mythic items or legendary runes. If boss fights are too hard or take too long on Torment 3, remember that you can always go back to Torment 2. All in all, you should have rank 10 Chaos perks, rank 4 Masterworking on all of your gear, and 1 or more legendary glyphs by the time you take on Torment 4. So that's that for the Dance of Knives Rogue. As usual, this build is excellent at crushing Torment 1 through 3, but does take a bit more effort to reach Torment 4. However, with this season giving so much free power, and last season making monsters easier to kill in the pit, the Dance of Knives Rogue still feels pretty good. Even with so many things missing on the build, like legendary glyphs, rank 12 masterworking, and mythics. I hope this helps. If you made it this far, then a like, comment, or subscribe is always appreciated. But otherwise, that's all from me. Thanks everyone for watching, and venture out.